to the channel members, remember, we are trying to hit a goal within the next week to week and a half. Basically, we need to hit this by around Thanksgiving. If we're going to do a Christmas marathon event, we have to have this goal hit by around Thanksgiving. That's kind of the time frame that we have. Okay, so we got about a week and a half left because it was around that time last month when a giant member bomb was gifted to the channel. That's what propelled us from like 500 members all the way up to 1,000. Okay, and a lot of those, I mean, obviously most of those are going to be expiring within about a week to a week and a half's time. All right, so it would be great if you were interested in becoming a member, or maybe if you wanted to help out the channel and help your fellow viewer. Possibly gifting a membership to your fellow viewer is a great way to not only support the channel, but also help out someone else who also likes the content, you know, being the gifting holiday spirit, right? I want to do the Christmas marathon with you guys. I do every year. It's one of my favorite things we do, a marathon of games, me dressing up in Christmas attire, me actually drinking for once on the stream, right? It's fun stuff, but we got to hit it. And at this point, we haven't really made progress. You know, in about 2-3 weeks, we just kind of had a decline. And it's a little, is it sad? No, but it's a little disappointing because you would have hoped that me playing all the hot new releases over the last few weeks might have brought people in. If you haven't noticed, it hasn't at all, which is very sad. It just basically means that DSP Gaming doesn't get any attention in the YouTube landscape, right? When it comes to the algorithm and stuff, no one's finding DSP Gaming as a channel to watch anymore for new releases. That sucks, all right? And in fact, someone had actually wrote me an email yesterday and basically said, you know, it's not that you're not successful, because you are. You have a channel that has a dedicated fan base. People support you, obviously. But it just sucks. You're not the old DSP that people went to watch all the new games anymore. Now you're a DSP that people who have an acquired taste for you will support, but you're not bringing in those kind of viewers anymore. And then what this person actually suggested is that rather than focusing on new release after new release after new release during this time of year, that I only pick and choose very few. Like maybe I would, in 1 month, I would only play 2 new games. So I guess this month, if you were to look at all the games coming out in November, right? I definitely would have played God of War Ragnarok, but I would have had to look at all the other games, right? So I would have to choose, pick and choose. Let's just take a look. So in the month of November, so far, we've had Sonic Frontiers, God of War Ragnarok, Atari 50th Anniversary Collection that have already come out. Okay? Then we got Goat Simulator 3, The Devil in Me, Pokemon Scarlet Violet, and Evil West. So, I've already skipped the Atari 50th Anniversary Collection. I'm going to skip Goat Sim 3, and I've already explained to you guys that I'm probably also delaying Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Not that I'm not playing it, but I'm just not playing it at launch. Okay? So what this person is suggesting, and I'm not mentioning their name, you know, because personally, obviously I don't want someone to be fucking exposed on the internet and get harassed or anything. But they sent me a really lengthy email basically saying, I like your channel, I like your content, I've been around for a long time, here's my suggestions, okay? So what they're saying is, I would only pick like 2 games this month. Like I would have played God of War Ragnarok and 1 other. Out of all the other games this month, only pick 1 other game. And those I would play, and then after that, I would basically just do older games and downtime content, or content that's more catered towards my own audience, rather than, oh, a hot new release. So, some of the examples they suggested, although, admittedly, I don't know if these are definitely ones that would work. A playthrough of Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, citing that I hadn't played Dark Souls 2 in many years, and people really come to my channel for From Software content, and see me suffer in it, and to see me do another run in that game might have been popular. Turok Evolution, I don't know who would want me to play that, but they apparently want to see me play that. Ratchet Deadlocked, I don't know who would want to see me play that, but again, this is, you know, and this is the weirdest suggestion of all. Street Fighter 5, saying, yes, you're going to lose a ton if you play Street Fighter 5, but if you started playing Street Fighter 5 now, okay, basically, you would get kind of hype building up on your channel, people getting used to you playing Street Fighter for when Street Fighter 6 comes out next year, and maybe make positive progress towards it, you know? So, you know, first of all, Turok, I don't think anyone's going to care about that. Ratchet and Clank, can I be honest? Ratchet and Clank has never had traction on DSP Gaming, ever. Any new Ratchet and Clank game I played, no one really cared that much. When I played the retro ones, no one really cared that much. I think Ratchet and Clank at one point had a pretty big fan base, and sadly has kind of fallen into, I don't want to say gaming obscurity, but basically they're not, it's kind of like the same situation with Halo, you know what I mean? These are franchises that at one point they were like huge, giant face of the franchise kind of deals, and then over time, even though they do still have their fan bases, sadly there's, you know, they're not prominent like they used to be. Okay, I'm not saying that if I played a Ratchet and Clank game or two that people wouldn't like it. I'm just saying I don't think they would have the impact that this guy is saying. You know what I'm saying? But with Street Fighter 5, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I understand the intent behind the suggestion. I do. The intent behind saying, hey, Phil, play Street Fighter 5 now is you're not going to get good at it. You're going to suck at it. But at least you're going to get your foothold back in Street Fighter. People can get used to watching you play Street Fighter 5 maybe once a week. So at least they're used to seeing you play fighting games in general, right? And then, that way, when Street Fighter 6 comes out, it's not like, oh, it's a shock. Phil's playing a hot new fighting game, and now he's going to cover it in depth or whatever. Like, for example, that Street Fighter 6 closed beta weekend was very interesting. And the reason that closed beta weekend was interesting was because I had 2 groups of people who were butting heads on this channel. Absolutely. We had the regular viewers who usually are around for variety content, and although some of them were more open-minded and were willing to watch me play Street Fighter 6, a lot of them were like, this isn't what we're here for. We're not here for 3 days of Street Fighter. You know, we like the variety. We wanted to see more than this. And they would watch one stream and be like, I'll be back when Phil's done with this. But on the flip side of that weekend, no exaggeration, I got like almost 1,000 new subscribers. And they were legit subscribers. They weren't the bot account shit that was happening. They were like legitimate people who said, wow, Phil's playing Street Fighter again. I guess I'll come back and I'll subscribe. And hopefully, you know, when Street Fighter 6 comes out, he'll give it a shot and this will be fun content to follow. So that was interesting. That I definitely saw a boost to the channel's attention that one weekend when I was part of the closed beta. And so I feel when Street Fighter 6 comes out, as long as I give it a fair shake and I play it a good amount and I try to learn it, I might see an actual healthy increase of attention here on the channel again. Because honestly, I'm not seeing it. Take a look at God of War Ragnarok. Not to say that I'm not appreciative of those of you who are watching it and tuning into the streams and watching the playthrough. But have you seen the views on it? Part 1 of God of War Ragnarok from last Wednesday doesn't even have 5,000 views yet. Every part after that, okay, I take that back because now I'm looking and the views did go up. So part 2 and 3 each have around 2,000 views on them. Talk about a fall off from around 5,000 down to 2,000 views. So less than half the people who watched part 1 even bothered watching part 2. Okay? And then when you get into the further parts like 4, 5, and 6, there's even further drop off. You want to talk about the God of War I played 2 days ago when I came back from break on Friday? Don't even have 1,000 views. And that's in 2 days. You know? So what I'm seeing basically is that this person is right. This person who wrote me the email is absolutely correct. There are not people coming to DSP Gaming anymore to watch me play the hot new releases. There's some exceptions. Elden Ring earlier this year was the most successful playthrough I'd done in like 4+ years. It really blew up on the DSP Gaming. People liked the way I tacked the game. They liked the fact that I wasn't pussyfooting around the game and avoiding bosses. I was really doing my best. Remember, I wanted to beat that horseman that night, right at the beginning of the game. I wanted to kill the dragon as soon as I could. You know, I wasn't, oh, I'll come back later. Now, fuck that. I'll do it now. And people liked that. Even though I died 1,000,000 times, people really liked that attitude that I had and the fact that I was openly exploring everything in the game, you know, and that playthrough likely will remain the most popular playthrough that I've done probably for years to come. I really feel it will. It was a unique thing, right? But outside of that, me playing new releases just does not bring eyeballs to the channel anymore. And I have to agree with this person who sent me this email. However, the question is, what do you do then? What do I purely cater to the audience that I have here that loves my content? If that's the case, what do they want? Because it seems like that's not always an answer that I can get a definitive answer from you guys. When I ask you, what do you want? One person will say, oh, I want you to play Pokemon. The other person will be like, well, I want you to play more God of War. Then the other person's like, you know, I really miss Street Fighter. And I get all these different answers, and I can't really get a definitive, this is what you should do. You want to know a perfect example of that? So, yesterday or the day before, someone said to me, will you be covering the Game Awards coming up in December? And I said, covering? Sure, we'll talk about it. And they said, oh, well, will you be doing a live react? And I said, well, you know, this year, I did a bunch of live reacts for these kind of press events and things. They didn't go so well, right? I did a live react to Summer Game Fest. I did a live react to, there was a Sony, I think, and also an Xbox press conference. And when I did the live aspects of those, didn't get a lot of attention, didn't get a lot of views when I did them. Didn't get a lot of views on the on-demand videos after. The funny part was, when I did my typical recap reactions video, after the live react, meaning I let all that information sink in, and then I went through the list of notes that I had taken. I said, this happened, and here's my thoughts on it. That got more attention and views than the live react, you see? So here's the thing. Do I do a live react to the Game Awards or not? Some people want it, some people don't. There's no definitive, oh, here's your answer, Phil, from my viewer base. And I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know what to do about a lot of these things, honestly. I'm kind of on the fence, you know? Like, for example, there's some things that are easy answers. Should Phil play Callisto Protocol? Freaking yes. That's a game that people are going to want to see me play. It's horror. It's the follow-up to Dead Space, which is one of my favorite franchises that I've ever covered for YouTube, right? Like, on all cylinders, the answer is yes for that one. That's like a no-brainer, right? But then when you ask about other games, you're like, I don't know. Should I play Evil West? I don't know. You know, I don't know these answers. I need your feedback on this kind of stuff, okay? So please give it to me. And, you know, what I may start doing is polling and stuff as well. Like, let's say, for example, in the next month, I have all these games to choose from that I should do playthroughs of, and maybe I should poll and say, which one is the one you guys really want? And I play the one that wins the polls, right? Maybe that's what I should do. I don't know. I gotta think about it. But I kind of am leaning towards agreeing with this person. Now, I'm not saying, don't worry, I'm not saying that this time of year I'm only gonna play 2 games a month. That's ridiculous. But, yeah, I mean, me trying to cover all these games, just in the last month, right? Here's the new releases that I covered. Oh, I deleted them all. Oh, shit. I deleted the ones off my list that I already played. Let's try this. Let's do it this method instead. All right, just in the last month, right? I covered, hold on, because YouTube is only showing me 10 playlists and all of its genius. Okay, here we go. In the last month, I did a full playthrough of Evil Within 1. I played Scorn, right? I did Resident Evil Village DLC. We did the Halloween Marathon, which is always fun. I did a Plague Tale Requiem. And then I did the story/campaign of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I'm doing the multiplayer of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? And now we're doing God of War Ragnarok, and now we're doing Sonic Frontiers. And by the way, Gotham Knights basically took forever and didn't finish. And now we're struggling to finish it because I was doing so much else all at the same time. Even though the viewership has dwindled, if anything, what this is showing, let's be honest here, is that the people who support this channel have always supported it, and everything else was just periphery views. You know what I'm saying? Like, at one point, a lot of people were coming to the channel and watching the content, but they weren't supporting the content. They were just here to watch. A lot of those people have gone, but the people who actually really like the content are still here and still supporting it. Because I haven't seen any kind of a dip in support. At all. Because you're, oh my god, the sky is falling. It looks like your overall views are down on your hot new release playthroughs. Okay, but I'm still doing just as well. So does it matter? I guess not, right? It's funny because you see these biggest YouTubers out there with their millions of views, but how many of the people who are actually doing that actually are supporting the content or care about it? And how many are just there to say, I'm watching this because it's known to be popular? They might not even be watching because they like it. They just watch it because they know it's popular. Oh, I'm told this is popular, so I should watch it, right? I think what happens is you get a more dedicated, a more invested group of viewers here on DSP Gaming because they're used to the style that I put out. They like the content I put out, and they want to support it. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, right, I still think we should cover major releases. Like, are you kidding me? If I skip God of War Ragnarok, I'd be kicking myself in the ass. God of War is my favorite game of 2018. I want to play the sequel, right? But at the same time, maybe this person's onto something, that with the decline of the popularity of new releases on this channel, because this really is a channel for a dedicated viewer base rather than the mainstream on YouTube, and maybe I should cater to that, and I should work with that, you know what I mean? But what is the best solution for the future? I think this is the discussion we need to start. I do feel that way. Like, we should start looking at things in a different way. All right? I'm never going to be I'm never going to be Maximilian. I'm never going to be an Angry Joe. Because people always constantly compare me to these people I'm not. I'm never going to be an ultra popular YouTuber who's known for covering fighting games but it branches out and does other stuff. I'm never going to be a high-end reviewer with skits and shit. People always want to tend to compare me to things that I'm not even on the same scale of. You know? Typical example. What was it last week that I addressed that Moist Critical compared me or brought me up in a comparison to Boogie? Boogie. Do you know who Boogie is? He's a YouTuber with 4 million subscribers. He used to have 5 million. He used to put out videos that on the daily would get hundreds of thousands to millions of views. All right? This guy was exponentially more popular than me on YouTube. And then they bring me up in reference to someone like that as if it's the same comparison. It's not at all. It never was. When people always compared me to the Angry Joes and they compared me to, you know, other content creators, it was never a direct comparison. It was kind of an unfair comparison that was never in scale. You know what I mean? So, to me, all right, I think like what we need to do is start being more realistic about who I am, the content that I put out, who watches it, and how to proceed, you know? And I think the course here is not how to make DSP Gaming hit the YouTube algorithm right, and now we get a bunch of new viewers coming in to watch the content. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more of what we need to do is find a way to cater to those who are already here, who are dedicated, and then to convince, slowly, a few other intelligent people to come here and say this is why this content is what you would want, as opposed to all the other very commercialized, very homogenized, very similar content that you can find on YouTube. Let's be honest. The content on DSP Gaming is pretty different. Pretty different from what you would find on a typical I make a living doing gaming channel on YouTube, right? It's funny because every night as I'm going to sleep, I typically open up my YouTube app now, and I just start scrolling through what's popular on YouTube. And very few long-form gaming channels like mine are even surviving. What everyone has had to do is jump basically on top of these trends. Constantly, you have to pump out a video. Oh, what happened to this person? Or what happened to this YouTuber? Or what happened to this game? Why did this game fail? The top 10 worst, the top 10 most disappointing. You know what I'm saying? Everything is like some kind of a researched docu-vid about something negative or toxic. Like, that's what's popular on YouTube now. And it's weird. It's very weird. That's, you know, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, some of this is the easiest shit you could do. I've seen people do, like, the history of classic Street Fighter, right? A video that just does a montage of, here's all the history of Street Fighter and how it progressed over time with commentary over it. Millions of views. I'm like, I could have done that. Easily. In fact, I have more knowledge than the person who made the video, because I lived it. I grew up doing that. And I look at the content like, this is it now. This is what YouTube is. It's become this weird place where everything's almost the same. That's what's popular on YouTube. There's always a fad, and that's kind of the fad right now. Do I want to do that style of content? Not really. You know, do I enjoy doing edited content? I do. I've done it before. I did it on KO Gaming for a whole year, and it was popular, and I had million-view videos on there. But to me, as a gamer, I prefer to chill with you guys, have social interaction, and enjoy games on a daily basis. That's really where I enjoy doing the most. For me to say, guys, I'm going to do an edited style video that's like a documentary about the history of something that I know, and by the way, that means that now I have to cut down on half of my streams this week in order to do voiceovers, to get the footage together, to edit it, I don't want to do that. I like being a streamer. You know what I'm saying? And that's where my audience is. I know that. I'm not saying that if I made a video like that it wouldn't have quality to it or maybe become popular. What I'm saying is it's not for my audience. My audience is very different than that mainstream YouTube audience, right? But what I'm looking at is, what do we do to make DSP gaming better for you, the core viewer, who's here every day, who's watching this, who wants better content? What would be better content? Does it mean to skip a bunch of new releases? Like right now, we're in the busiest time of the year, and I'm trying to juggle the new releases, and I'm having a tough time with it, right? I'm absolutely having a tough time right now, juggling all the new releases that are going on. Admittedly, it's not easy right now, okay? Should I actively be skipping new releases to do other styles of content, right? I guess that's the question right now. And I would absolutely love feedback on it. Okay, the more feedback I get, the better about this kind of stuff. Please let me know what you think. Please let me know, what it is that you want from DSP Gaming. Because at this point, I think I do need to start listening to the viewer base and say, instead of, it's not the same formula every year, where every hardcore gaming season I now try to play every game. Instead, it would be more of, what's going to entertain the audience that's here to support the content. You know what I mean? I think that's more important than me just pumping out new release playthroughs constantly. I do feel that way. I feel like, we're in a situation here where it makes more sense to open up to the audience and get your feedback than just ride the same formula I've done forever. So if you feel, that there's something different that I should be doing, please share. I'm open to suggestion. Let me know, okay? Let me know.